Hi everyone, I'm Ray, and today I am doing the Read Harder Challenge that's put on by Bookriot, and I think they started it in 2015, so I could be wrong, but it's only been going on for 2 or 3 years, and I just wanted to make a video about how far I've gotten so far, and I also have pretty good sized pile of books here that I bought from the book depository for the challenge, and I wasn't sure whether I should do a separate haul video for these, but when I thought about it, I thought I should just, put them in this video, because if I'm reading them all for this challenge, then it would just kind of not make sense to put them in a separate haul. So first, I'll start with the books that I have read already, and then I'll get to those. So, let's see. I'm just going to kind of skip over the ones that I haven't gotten to, because I haven't actually picked out all of the books that I want to read for them. So, I don't have any books to show you or any titles to talk about. I'm just kind of gonna pick up what seems interesting to me after I finish that book pile there, and I'll get to them eventually. Okay, so the first one I finished was to read a nonfiction book about science, and for that I have a huge pile here and I'm gonna knock it all over, but I read The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, and I have not read a lot of science books, or books that deal with science, but I really enjoyed this because it would talk about the science, and then it would kind of switch over to the story of Henrietta and her family. And I think I gave this book 5 stars in Goodreads. And I'm going to try not to talk too long about all the books because I have a bunch to get through. So that was the first one. The second one I just finished for the Booktubeathon challenge, but it was to read a collection of essays, so it fits this one as well, and that is Small Wonder by Barbara Kingsolver, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Let's see. I had to write these down because, my eyes are really bad, so I'm sorry if that's annoying, but my vision's not too great right now. Okay, the third one I finished was to read a biography, not a memoir or an autobiography. So for that, I read a book that had been on my TBR for a while, and that is Cleopatra, A Life by Stacy Schiff. Oh, and it was winner of the Pulitzer Prize, so I didn't even notice. And this one took a while for me to get through, because, it wasn't like a novel. It was, a really fact-filled biography, but, it was probably one of the best biographies of Cleopatra that I've read, and I've read, a couple. And this was just by far, the most accurate, and she really, you could tell, had done her research well and taken I don't know how long it took her to put this book together, but it was excellent, and if you're interested in Cleopatra, I would definitely recommend it, because it was great. Okay. The next book I read was to read a dystopian or post-apocalyptic novel. That was a tongue twister. And for that I read Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. And I want to say I gave this 4 or 5 stars on Goodreads. I really can't remember. I read it, I want to say a couple of months ago, but I will put a link, to my Goodreads page if you're interested in seeing more about any of these books. and I thought this was just, you know, excellent. A lot of people had been, you know, it's been hyped up a lot, and I wasn't sure I would, you know, enjoy it a lot because of that, I guess, but it was kind of as good as everyone said it was, so I really liked that one. Next challenge was to read a book originally published in the decade you were born, and I was able to find a book that was published in 1992, which is the exact year I was born, and that was The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. And I don't think I had ever read any of his books, but I had watched this movie on Netflix, so I mean, I knew the story going in, but I still really enjoyed it, and I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Okay. Next challenge I finished was to read a book over 500 pages long. For that, this big one here, I read The Crimson Petal and the White by Michael Faber. And I had originally heard about this book from Gilmore Girls. I'm a fanatic. I started watching it with my sister, I want to say 10 years ago, but it's just been a really long time. She got me into it. She started getting the DVDs, and we'd watch it together, and I think it's both of our favorite show. So this was just the biggest book. I mean, when I got it, I was just like, what could possibly, you know, could the author have to say for this many pages? But, you know, it was interesting, and I want to say I gave it 3 or 4 stars. I'm not sure, again, but I'm kind of, I don't know, happy that I was able to get through it because it's huge. It's 900 pages. It's a huge book. Okay. And the next challenge was to read a book under 100 pages, and that one was obviously a lot easier. I read A Realm of One's Own by Virginia Woolf, and I was able to get it in this Modern Classics edition on the Book Depository, and I want to say I gave this 5 stars. It was really just great. And yep, I'm reading Mrs. Dalloway right now, and really enjoying that as well. Okay, the next challenge that I finished was to read a book of historical fiction set before 1900, and for that I read The Girl with the Pearl Earring, and I got this at a library book sale, so I mean, this isn't the cover I would have gotten because it's from the movie, which I haven't seen, and I think it's Scarlett Johansson. I can only see part of her face, but this was just kind of a breeze to get through, and you know, it was just okay. I wasn't in love with it or anything, but you know, it was interesting and just okay. I don't know, I probably wouldn't recommend it. Alright. The next challenge that I finished, or I've gotten partway through it, was to read a book that was adapted into a movie and then watch the movie and debate which is better. And for that I read Brooklyn, and I got this really nice edition. What is I don't know, Penguin Fiction. And I read the book, and I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but I have not watched the movie yet. I've just been, you know, pretty busy, and I haven't had a chance, but I will get around to it eventually because I think it was nominated for an Oscar, or the actress was. I'm not sure, so I will get to the movie eventually. Okay. The next challenge I finished was to read a book about religion, fiction or nonfiction. for that, I read, let's drop that, The Red Tent, and I think this cover is from, it says Now a Lifetime miniseries, so I think that's where this cover is from. And I have not watched the series, but I had heard about this book from the Rory Gilmore, or I think it is the Rory Gilmore Book Challenge. And I'm trying to read some books on that challenge as well. I was filming and then my storage data ran out, so I had to go delete some apps. But The Red Tent, I enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, I think. And I'll probably try to get around to watching the miniseries eventually, because I thought it was really interesting, and I'd like to know a little bit more about the time and, you know, the events that were taking place in the book. Alright, so those are the books that I read so far, and now I'm going to talk about the couple of books that I bought to read for some of the other challenges. And the first one I have here is to read a book that is by an author from Southeast Asia. And for that I bought The Garden of Evening Mists by, I want to say Twing, and I'm probably butchering that and I'm really sorry. But I went on Goodreads to kind of find an author from Southeast Asia, because I don't know any off the top of my head, and I saw some pretty good reviews about this one, so I'm excited to get to it. It sounds like something that I will enjoy. The next one I got was for the challenge to read a book that is set in the Middle East, and for that I got Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong too, and I'm sorry. This is a graphic memoir, and I've never read a graphic memoir before. I've only read graphic novels and comic books, so I really want to, you know, read this. I mean, I've heard so many good things about it, and I mean, the artwork is just really nice. It's like, I think it's all black and white, and I think it will be interesting to read this story in kind of a different format from what I'm used to. And then next one I got, or the book I got, was to read a play, and for that I got this vintage Euripides edition of Medea, which I thought just like was kind of a cool cover. The bloody handprint, it's kind of dark, and yeah, I haven't read any plays or any mythology in a really long time, so I'm excited to get back into it, and this book sounds pretty interesting, so I'm excited to read it. Okay, and the last one I bought for the challenge was to read a nonfiction book about feminism or dealing with feminist themes, and for that I got, oh, it's another author I'm not going to be able to pronounce, and that is We Should All Be Feminists, and I'm just going to butcher that name if I even try it. I saw this on Bookriot, and I love the cover, and it is tiny. I don't know if you can tell, but it's probably the smallest book I own, and it was on sale, and I'd seen a lot of good ratings for it on Goodreads, so I was kind of excited to pick it up, and I don't think this will be a very long read since it is so small. So that's that, and I still have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other books that I'm going to need to figure out what to read for the challenges, and, you know, buy them or get them at the library eventually. But I'm pretty happy with how far I have gotten so far this year. I read a lot more in the challenge than I expected to read, and I really enjoyed it because it kind of makes me read, or, you know, look into books that maybe I normally wouldn't pick up, but, you know, once I read them, I've really enjoyed everything that I've read for this challenge. So I guess I kind of got lucky in that regard. And I'm excited to keep going and hopefully finish it by the end of this year. So if you are doing the Read Harder challenge, let me know in the comments below what you're reading, or link me to your videos, and I'll check it out, and maybe, you know, you have some books that I haven't read that I could read for this challenge. I'm interested to see what you guys have read. So thanks for watching, and that's about it. Bye.